The special meeting of the Annapolis City Council on Monday, June 16th, 2025 will be called to order at 7 p.m. At this time, please join us for the invocation given by Alderman Finlayson, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that surprise. Good evening. Would you all bow your heads? Dear Lord, I want to first thank you for the blessings you bestowed upon our city. Thank you for the work that this council does to give peace and calm and collaboration to all of the residents of the city of Annapolis. Dear Lord, I ask you to protect our servants, our elected officials, and anyone who may be a target of hatred and malcontent. I ask that you protect all of our residents and keep us on a good course to bring us to the most collegial place that we can muster. These names or these words I ask in your name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley.
Here.
Alderman Huntley.
Present.
Alderwoman O'Neill. President. Alderwoman Pendell Charles. Alderman Finlayson.
Present.
Alderman Shandemeyer.
Present.
Alderman Gay. Alderman Savage.
Present.
Alderman Arnett.
Present.
Thank
You, Mr. City Attorney, please present the first item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
At this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda to add 02925 Tyler Avenue Complete Community Overlay and 03025 Business Revitalization District Regulations, and to remove from tonight's agenda AP 4625 Tom Shop Transportation Board. Are you adding that now?
No, that
Could you
can't be right.
repeat that again?
Aren't we adding all of these?
I'm waiting for Alderman Huntley's going to introduce us. Yeah.
Oh,
What were the ones you listed?
The ones that I have scripted here are Tyler Avenue Complete Community and Business Revitalization District Regulation on first reader. Two first readers. So 092925 and 03025. The two that we've added. We're taking Tom Shock off Transportation Board. And then Alderman Huntley is going to move some other things as a block. Yeah.
So I'd like to motion to amend the agenda to also include 01525, 01825, 01925, 01725, 02025, 02125, 02425, 02725. Oh, sorry, not 02725. R2725 and R3025.
second.
You get all those? Yep. Everything all right? Great. You got a second on that? Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is ceremonial items. City Council Citation ID 11325. World Mission Society Young Adult Volunteers leading the Us Now Imagine the Youth Anti-Bullying Forum.
All right, well, look at all these fine young people in front of us. I'm excited to present to you all. Thank you. Right. This is a perfect time for Us Now Imagine the Youth Anti-Bullying Forum. Thank you so much for what you do. Please come up and see me up front here. you all want to come up and we can sort of spread out.
Go behind the room.
So we can balance the picture. So on behalf of the residents of the City of Annapolis, we are pleased to confer upon you this City Council citation in recognition of the World Mission Society Church of God Azus Star Volunteer Group. We thank you for your exceptional dedication to community service, volunteerism, and promotion of peace and unity. Your commitment to helping others and inspiring positive change embodies the highest ideals of civic responsibility. Thank you for being a shining example of leadership and love in action. With great appreciation and admiration, we wish you continued success and lasting impact on your and all of our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And I'm going to pass that. And would you like to say a couple of words at all?
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having us today. We are the university students, middle high school students. We're a SES, Save the Earth from A to Z, part of the World Mission Society Church of God. And a few weeks ago, we held an anti-bullying forum here in Annapolis down the street. And this is one of the many events that we've done here locally, also worldwide, in order to bring hope to a hopeless world in despair. So this is one of many that we will do in the future. Thank you so much for your help in obtaining this goal. Have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. Next item on the agenda is a general discussion about remaining legislation.
All right. Who wants to start? General discussion on remaining legislation. I think that was good to go. Alderman Savage, did you have a few comments on that? It's for the public. Thank you.
Yeah, so just something to keep in mind, I think, since we added a lot of legislation tonight, I think we still do have to have a conversation with Planning Commission. I don't see anybody here from the Planning Commission, but just as an example, tonight I think we have 5 pieces of legislation that we've added to the agenda that have to go to the Planning Commission, and which means they most likely won't have a meeting to hear all the legislation until the first meeting in July. That's their next scheduled meeting, and they usually take 2 meetings to conclude with their action. So they'll need another meeting after that to send us recommendations. So that'll probably, at the latest, that'll be their first meeting in September. And then it'll come back to the council. We have to have a public hearing on that at our first meeting in September 8th. And then September 15th. And then the rest of that, so we'll have 3 meetings essentially like 5 weeks or so to have all the legislation go through committee. Alderman Arnett and I did speak with Director Jakubiak a bit about this, and his feedback was that he thought the Planning Commission could handle maybe 2 to 3 pieces of legislation. I think the chair also expressed some concern with the number of pieces of legislation coming to them because they don't meet in August, similar to us. So technically, they have 90 days to review legislation. I just want to let you know we may be putting them in a bit of a tough situation as far as legislation to review. I know some of them are larger than others. I think the Tyler Avenue one is going to need significant feedback from them. But I think some of them are minor, like Alderwoman O'Neill's. Yes, important, but relatively small change. I've withdrawn my tree legislation just again for the sake of trying to reduce the amount of legislation they have. So at this point, I'm not entirely sure I'm going to support everything on first reader, just because I want to try to narrow the pool down. And again, on top of that, we have about 10 or so pieces of legislation that we are introducing, which again will probably hit us the same month. We'll have essentially 5 weeks, 5 to 6 to have all this go through our committees. Rules and Government has the most, I think, slated to go through them. And I think the others are usually 1 or 2 each. So just kind of throwing that out there. If we do hear back from the Planning Commission, we may want to just be flexible with what we give them and what we absolutely feel like we need now and what can wait. So that's basically all I wanted to say. See if anybody else had thoughts on that.
Alderman Finlayson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. These are extenuating circumstances, I believe. We don't generally have such a plethora of legislation at the end of a term, but that seems to be the case this time. I would be willing, and I will speak for my colleagues on the Rules Committee, to add an additional meeting if we need to get through all the legislation. I would ask that we ask the same thing of the Planning Commission and any other commission or committee that has to hear our legislation. This is not a norm, but this is a one-time request in order to assist us. And really, we should have gotten our legislation in before now, so it falls on us, but that we make an appeal to the members of the Planning Commission and anybody else who has to hear the legislation, that we add appropriate meetings so we can get through our agenda and so that we can get our business completed. So that's my recommendation.
Thank you. Alderman Huntley?
Uh,
And it's second.
I'm a big fan of Alderwoman Finlayson's recommendation. I think also just to make sure that we make the best use of those additional meetings, we could utilize time blocks when we get into the legislation, saying, if we've got 6 pieces of legislation in a 2-hour meeting, we could start at the beginning and say we're going to spend 20 minutes on each one, rather than accidentally spending an hour on the first one and then realizing, we got to do all the other 5 in 10 minutes each. Just my suggestion. The other thing I was going to say is, if it sounds like the crush is more about getting the committee meetings done, and certainly the Planning Commission, rather than the council meetings. But if we do need an additional council meeting in August, we should think about that sooner rather. That's all.
Thank you. And for the public, any legislation we don't get finished in this term dies. So everybody's working furiously to button up all the amazing things that they're moving forward for this community. And I want to thank the committees and the councillors here for trying to move things through your committees as quick as possible, given the crunch. So thank you, everybody. Alderman Arnett, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with Alderwoman Finlayson. I've never in my 18 years seen such a crush. I do attribute it largely to the comp plan and all the things that are associated with the comp plan. And it would be my preference that the Planning Commission deal with the things that are directly related to the comp plan. The reason for that is they've worked with this body, these people, for a couple of solid years, and we know the comp plan. And I think it's important to get the comp plan, like the Taylor Avenue Road, on a good push while this council is still in term. I really have some concerns about doing blocks of times. It's been my experience on the council that rush legislation usually ends up being bad legislation, and we end up redoing it and redoing it and redoing it. I think if these are important enough to be introduced and considered by the bodies, the commissions and boards, and the council, we need to take the time. And if things, I mean, there's only a 2-month difference between Etsana dying and being able to be reintroduced. So I'd rather take the time and maybe not get some through than to rush and not have it be good legislation.
Thank you, Alderman Annette. Alderman Savage.
Just the last thing, I would recommend, if your colleagues, if you have legislation, if you're sponsoring legislation, perhaps reach out to the Planning Commission to make sure that find out what they're thinking as far as scheduling and being able to meet. Because I do think out of all of them, the Tyler Ave might take more time with them than the others, and might be good to. Well, that's coming from the administration and staff, but I'm sure Kubarak is well aware of that. That's it. Thank you.
You, Alderman Schandelmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got a point of information question. What happens? Well, one, do we have 90 days left in our legislative term? I think we do, correct? 92? What? More than that. Okay. So what happens if that 90-day point passes? I think we can make an agreement with each other that if the Planning Commission doesn't get to our legislation within 90 days, we just get it to the committees and get through it. I will still welcome their input on the legislation as it goes through the committee, but I feel like that shot clock sounds appropriate.
You, Alderman Savage.
Well, just on that point, I think that may require a suspension of the rules. Look to the Office of the Law if we were to do that. And I mean, personally, I would not be in favor of it because I do think we should give them, to Alderman Arnett's point, I think give them time to do adequate reviews and get their feedback. But I guess the Office of Law would that, Mr. Laws, would that require a suspension of the rules to?
Yes.
Okay.
Unanimous vote.
It looks doable. I think we're going to get there. Alderman Huntley.
So along the lines of what Alderman Savage is saying, Mr. City Attorney, I know generally we have to send that to the Planning Commission because the state law requires us to, my understanding. So if we don't get those responses back from the Planning Commission and we do what we're talking about here and we consider it anyway, would we be in violation of state law, or is this just we have to waive the city rule? You can feel free to get back to me on that.
I'd have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
All right. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is petitions, reports, and communications, beginning with update from the mayor.
So tonight, as we come together to do the public's business as elected leaders, I want to say a few words about the tragic and senseless violence that took the life of Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband and injured 2 others. The suspect was apprehended on Sunday. These politically motivated attacks strike at the very core of our democracy and the value we as Americans place on public service. All of us up here have sought out this role because we want to help our communities. As elected leaders, we understand that criticism and disagreement come with the job, but we do not expect our political differences to be met with deadly violence. In moments like this, we must come together as a nation to condemn hatred and protect the institutions and the people that make our democracy and democratic institutions strong. So let's please take a moment to honor the memory of those lost and to wish a full recovery to those injured as we pray for peace in our communities. Thank you. The tragic events of the weekend remind us of the tragedies we have known right here in Annapolis. Next Saturday, June 28th, marks 7 years since the senseless mass shooting at the Capitol Gazette that took the lives of 5, Rebecca Smith, John McNamara, Wendy Winters, Rob Hyerson, and Gerald Fishman. On Friday, 5 wreaths will be placed at the site, 1 for each victim at our memorial down at City Dock. Last week on June 11th, we also recognized the 2-year anniversary of the second mass casualty incident in Annapolis. The 3 lives lost, Maria Morales Ruiz, Christian Segovia, and Nicholas Morales, along with 3 others who were injured but survived. The pain of this incident continues to echo throughout our community. Tragedies like these, alongside shooting incidents in Annapolis, Anne Arundel County, and throughout Maryland, must never be forgotten. It is why we are lighting City Hall orange through June for the cause of gun violence awareness. No matter how many years pass, we will continue to hold victims and their families in our hearts and remain committed to building a community where every resident feels safe. And let's please take one more moment of silence. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. This Thursday, we celebrate Juneteenth, a profoundly important day in our history that marks the effective end of slavery in the United States. This Thursday, to celebrate, Annapolis Parks and Rec is hosting the second Cars Beach reunion at Elktonia Cars on Bemby Beach Road. There will be 2 stages for music, plus food trucks and fun for everyone with a beautiful view of the Chesapeake Bay. Parking at the site is limited to handicap accessible only, so please park at the Pitmoy Rec Center or Powell Park or Hillsmere Elementary and take the free shuttle to the venue. Bring a chair or blanket, no umbrellas, and enjoy an afternoon of great music. This event is a rain or shine event, so let's hope Mother Nature cooperates. Then on Saturday, join us for the 5th annual Juneteenth Parade, which will step off from the corner of St. John Street and Bladen Street at 11 a.m. Following the parade, a 2-day festival will take place at Anne Arundel Community Fairgrounds. And lastly, this past Friday, we got to celebrate a great employee, Maria Brown, who marked 50 years with the city. Maria began working at the city back when Gerald Ford was president and everything was done with pen and paper. Over the years, she has seen it all, from staff turnover to 10 different mayors and the introduction of computers and nearly all digital workflow. We were able to celebrate this milestone with Maria and her family and colleagues right here in City Hall. And now, and old and new people came together to thank her for her dedicated service. So congratulations, Maria. 5 decades is a long time to put up with all of us. Let's give her a big round of applause. Now let's get on with the meeting. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is reports by committees.
Alderman O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Transportation Committee met last Wednesday. Talked about a couple of reappointments to the Transportation Board. And we had an update from Premium Parking. No, I'm sorry, from Metropolis Parking on some of the stats going on in the garages. Premium Parking was invited, but declined the invitation to give us their latest stats. We talked about there's the fact that we are short of people serving on the transportation board, and encourage members to seek other people who are interested in serving on that board. And our next meeting is July 9th, 4 p.m. in council chambers.
Thank you all. Alderman Savage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So environmental matters. At our last meeting, we discussed 0625, which is the legislation deal with snow removal, clearing snow and ice from city sidewalks. We did recommend that favorably. And then for 0825, Chesapeake Children's Museum lease, we also recommended that favorably. We had discussions with Plan and Zoning about development updates. We also received a briefing from the Resilience Authority on the Eastport flood mitigation, flood prevention project. They have, I think, narrowed down their list of projects for the peninsula and are going to be holding some meetings coming up here to with the public. And then we also received a briefing on the Cars Beach project as far as some of the conceptual plans for adding buildings and amenities on that property, and as well as the shoreline work. And it looks very, very excited about the amount of effort, amount of improvements that we're looking to put on that property. I think it'll be a really great community amenity, and yeah, excited to see how that rolls out. I know there's going to be a public hearing on that. I think there's a chance to comment on that Wednesday. That's about it. Oh, the next meeting, sorry, is July 10th at 3 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Pindell-Charles and Alderman Finlayson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Public Safety Standing Committee met in June, and we gave a report last week about that, the actions that we took. The next Public Safety Standing Committee is being held and scheduled for Monday, July the 7th, here in council chambers at 6:30. And at that time, again, we will be focusing on our specific wards, and this time we'll be wrapping up with wards 5 and 7. So I invite my alderperson colleagues to come or to offer questions and comments. The other wards, we've had success in answering questions, and I thought it would be another opportunity to gain information and doing it a little bit differently this time around. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Alderman Finlayson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Rules and City Government Committee met on June 6th, and we gave our report at the last meeting. The next meeting will be held on Friday, July 11th, 1 o'clock here in council chambers. That's a week later than our normal meeting date because of the 4th of July holiday. Thank you. All are invited to attend.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is comments by the general public.
I've got lots of people signed up to speak today. Please come forward and take 3 minutes. First is Craig Aldershaw. Please come forward. Thank you. And state your full name and address, Craig. Thank you. On the podium there. Yep. Thank you. Great. Welcome. Yep.
Oh, there it is. Nope, there it is. There, it's green now. Again, my name is Craig Aldershaw. What else did you need me to?
And just your address. Thanks, Craig. Yeah.
Oh, my address?
Address, yeah.
309 Whirlaway Drive in Prince Frederick, Maryland.
Thank you.
I come before you tonight. I am the Vice President of Local 1926, Professional Firefighters of the City of Annapolis. I know that our President, Joe Pilot, has communicated with all of you recently about our need for increased staffing for the fire apparatus in the city. It's something we feel very strongly about. I'm sure you're aware of the daily increase in calls that we see, and our calls annually go up, just steadily going up. We do a lot of mutual aid with Anne Arundel County on a daily basis, 2 medic units, and more likely the ladder truck and the engine. Ladder truck have Company 39, engine have Engine 35, and the medic units from both those stations spend a lot of time going into the county to answer their calls that they are not able to handle due to their staffing issues. That leaves us short in the city. short on EMS calls to answer calls for citizens of the city, taxpayers, citizens who come into the city to visit our great city and enjoy the area. So I know that speaking with the fire chief, I know that he has talked about implementing a peak hour unit. That would increase our ability to handle the calls that we have here in the city. And we just support that effort. That effort also brings in billing money. And that would mean that there would be an increase in taxes in order to pay for these new positions. And we understand the confines and constraints of the city budget. We'd simply love to see that you find enough money to fund one new position every fiscal cycle. That would bring enough people and personnel to our apparatus to staff properly per national standards. A lot of times when I talk about those units that are out in the county, if we have a true city call, true fire in the city, we wait longer for units to come from farther away. With the amount of staffing we currently have, means we wait longer to go in and rescue somebody if necessary, which means we wait longer to put out a fire of a business or a residence. So saving a life, saving a property is priority one for us, and we believe it should be priority one for the city members as well, the board, council members. So we just ask that we don't want to increase staffing on everything right away. Just chunk it out just a piece at a time, and then we will have great, adequate staffing to handle the calls for the citizens of this city that deserve their services that they pay for to service them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Craig. Thank you. Thank you. Karen Mansbridge is next.
Good evening. Karen Mansbridge, 1016 Cars Road, Annapolis. I was told that there was going to be a proposal for annexation of my little community here tonight. I haven't heard about that yet, so I don't know if it's appropriate for me to speak to that yet or not.
Yep, it will be coming up after the public testimony. Yep.
After the public testimony.
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to say that I've lived in Carrs Manor since 1988. I've owned a home there and lived there since that time. The annexation for this, out of 10 of us that own and live there, 7 of us do not want this annexation. My big objection to it is that the land that is not yet developed, these are people who are doing it as investment. And yet we're going to be asked to pay into this in order for them to develop their land. I wanted to ask the city council to work with the developers and the investors to come up with the funds to do this project if in fact you decide that this is something that the city really wants. I don't think it's fair for us to have to pay for somebody else to develop land and make profits off of it, because we are not going to profit. We have perfectly good septic fields and wells. We have access to fire, police, emergency services, trash pickup. So really, it does not do us any good, nor if you read through the packet that will be presented, the associates that put that together say right in there that it's not going to make our properties any more valuable than they are already. I think that that's what I want to say for now until the packet gets
Thank you so much, Karen.
presented.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Ray Hindle.
Hi, my name is Ray Hindle, 1039 Blackwell Road. I'm against any annexation. I've lived there for 40 years, since the mid-'80s, and everything's fine down there. I don't need the city coming in and doing anything. So I'm totally against this. I don't want to pay anymore, and you're going to affect the quality of my life if you do, because I'm on Social Security. I'm not going to be able to afford all this crap. So I'm against it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Next up is Christine Costello.
Good evening. I'll try to make this brief. I'm Christine Costello. I live at 1011 Cars Road. I also am against the annexation for 4 main reasons. Number one, the petition that you're going to review, potentially, the validity of the petition signatures are not necessarily qualified individuals according to Maryland law. So I think that that should be under intense scrutiny by this council. Second, existing septic and water systems. I bought my home in 2020. I'm one of the newbies of the street. Everybody's been there for a very long time. I had to pay $8,000 just to put in a new septic tank to accommodate code. That was an additional financial burden to me. So between that and additional enhancements to my well, water softening treatment, I'm good in the septic and well department. Mine is not failing. I also think there's a need for a comprehensive cost and impact study. I question the cost estimates and assumptions presented in the petition before moving forward with annexation. I strongly urge the city to conduct a formal independent study to assess the true financial and infrastructural impacts on existing and future members of CARS and Blackwell. This should consider environmental, traffic, parking, noise, and other quality of life issues. And I think approving annexation without this due diligence would be premature and potentially harmful to current residents. And the fourth point is a request for transparency in the annexation process. Going forward, I respectfully request that any future annexation efforts follow a more transparent and inclusive process. The manner in which this particular proposal was introduced without clear communication or sufficient notice raises concerns about transparency and creates the impression that there may be hidden agendas or lack of good faith. For a matter as significant as annexation, residents deserve open, timely, and honest engagement from the outset. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much.
May I ask a question, Mr. Mayor?
Oh,
That's fine.
want to get the next one? John Hegland is next up.
Sorry, I signed out.
Okay, no worries. Next up is Kevin Elon. Okay. Kristen Michael. Oh, Chris Michael. Sorry, thank you so much. I apologize. How do you say that, Chris? No.
Mike Sell.
Mike Sell, thank you.
Yes, sir. Hello, my name is Chris Mike Sell, 1018 Cars Road, Annapolis 21403. I've lived on Cars Road for probably since not too long after Karen was there in 89, 90-ish, so I've been there quite some time. Seen it go from a little dirt road that T-boned into the woods down there with no houses to, now our 6 or 7 or whatever we have. So at this point, I can't say I'm for or against this annexation just because there's not enough information out there for, I believe, people to make an informed decision. At this point, to some of the points we've already heard, the information that was provided to us was done in a letter from a legal firm, and that's how we originally found out about it, that this was potentially going to happen or go forward. Hey, be advised, this may come, so be ready. So I guess we're at the be ready point because it sounds like it's coming in some form or another. I would just like to say, I would just like everyone to be forthcoming, let us know, transparent, understand, both from environmental impact as some of the things we heard. I mean, we've got deer and squirrels and badgers and all kinds of animals we love to, see back in our area back there. And if we go through with this, there's going to be a lot more housing, a lot more property built on, I would imagine, is the goal of this. And I would just like everyone to be transparent and let us know what's happening, what the cost is going to be to everybody, both the owner occupied. There's a lot of renters down there, and there's a lot of undeveloped land that I would imagine will be developed, and how that cost is spread out and what it's going to impact the residents down there that have been there for quite some time, and the new residents as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Huntley, did you want to say something? No? So it will be very public process. This is just a review, so we're all learning it at the same time as you all.
Okay.
Thank you. Next up to speak is Amanda Fagley.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Fagley. My home is 238 Prince George Street, Annapolis. Slightly different perspective. My husband and I own property in Carrs Manor. We are in favor of annexing Carrs Manor into the city, as this small parcel of approximately 7 acres has been effectively denied access to public sewer and water. Historically, Carrs Manor was gerrymandered to accommodate developers of Chesapeake Harbor years ago by keeping Carrs Manor out of the city and sacrificing the parcel to allow a zoning connection of Chesapeake Harbor to county property. This arrangement was not in the best interest of the residents of Carrs Manor. Rather, it was an omission without consent while the surrounding area was incorporated into the city. Later, when construction of Bay Ridge Landing was proposed, houses in Carrs Manor were promised hookup into the development's sewer and water. Unfortunately, the hookup never happened, and residents of Carrs Manor were left out and denied access. Our neighbor, Brenda Smith, a 60-year resident and member of the original Carr family, expressed to us that she wants water. To want access to water and sewer is not a big ask. For this enclave and its property owners to have access to public utilities like clean water and a regulated sewer system seems reasonable. For the 22 years that we've owned property in Carrs Manor, we have had no water, no sewer, and no future of either. But there is hope for these basic amenities if the city will annex Carrs Manor. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Next up, Leslie Finkel.
Good evening. My name is Leslie Finkel. I live at 1189 Tyler Avenue. And I just am here to represent my community in the efforts of the, first of all, streetscape, which I think is a great idea. Mostly all the residents have one main concern in that area, and that is the speed by which vehicles go up and down. 2 people have been hit in the past month. We're afraid to let my grandkids play in the front yard because if a ball rolls out in the street, cars are going so fast. That is our only concern for how to make our neighborhood better. I'm a retired citizen. I've owned property there for 25 years, born and raised in Annapolis. One of my main concerns is when you see a Google Earth of our neighborhood, you're looking at a lot of big properties. And the reason I bought that property when I did as a single parent was because I didn't really care about the dwelling. I wanted a yard. And to single out our neighborhood because we have big properties seems a little unfair to a lot of us because that's why we bought it. That's why I bought it. I'm very proud to sit on my back porch and look in the back and see trees, land, and animals, and have a place for my kids to play wiffle ball at a very, what I can't say inexpensive, but a very cost-effective area to live in. I was able to buy that as a single parent because it was affordable housing back in the early 2000s. I think I have a number of neighbors that associated with larger property and with just some of the smaller lots, they're also retirees. Living for the next 10 or 20 years or however many years God gives me, I can't afford to have a steady increase in taxes as well. I want to finish my life there. Many of my neighbors want to finish our lives on that street. You know, we're in a, the affordable part of Annapolis. So to say that we want to do this, and I'm hoping it's not called rezoning, correct? We're going to stay R2 and it's an overlay. Am I correct?
Yes.
We are going to stay R2, right? With a few more options for those who may want that.
Yeah.
But along with that typically goes a tax hike. And I just would like to speak for those of us that are at a fixed income. Let's be careful. Let's not try to rush this through, and let's allow the occupants and the community members to at least be part of the process which votes it in. if that's possible. At least keep us in the loop. Most of us have found this in the past couple months to be something sprung upon us, not something we really knew about. And so we're kind of catching up on what exactly the plan is. So if you could maybe we could get a committee of neighbors to be part of the final decision-making process. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely, Leslie. Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor, just
Alderman Savage,
just
sorry.
a statement. So just for the public's standpoint, so you're aware, the official public hearing for the Tyler Avenue legislation will be probably in September sometime. If you want to make sure your comments get on the record, and as far as speed issues, we are working on a lot of things on that road. Just again for the public's awareness, we have a potential reconstruction of the roadway involving new safety features, street trees, and that will also involve its own public comment period. But yeah, that's just want to throw that out there for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Sandy Brown. Oh, could you just come to the? You got to identify yourself. We're not doing a freestyle.
My name is Sandy Brown, and I've lived on Tyler Avenue since
What street number, please? Tyler Avenue.
1193.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And behind my house is the elementary school, which is just wonderful. The good thing about Tyler Avenue is that it is a pass-through for the fire department and the police, and I think that's very important. I was a nurse for 40 years in Annapolis, and I love my big backyard and the elementary school behind my house, and we just want to be informed and not have, I'd like to live my life out there also. And thank you, I've been writing to you. And so if we could just, and he just said that they'd slow the traffic down. So
Thank you. And we love your big backyards. They're awesome there. They're so great. Yeah. Rob Bontempo next up. Okay, great. Gail Goebel.
Hello, my name is Gail Goebel. I live at 1017 Cars Road, and I'm here just to let the City Council know that I am against the annexation. Me and my husband have lived there for 28 years and raised our 3 kids there. Our septic and well are well maintained. No reason for any public sewer or water. And just to let you know that we would like also transparency, and if there's any kind of petition that we need to make for or against, we'd like to do that if that's something that the people that are against it, that we can make a petition. We're not sure how to go about it. We've never done anything like this, though. If there's a certain process that we have to go through, we'd like to know. Thank you.
And it will be very public, and everybody will be included. They have to be included. Yeah. Next up, Terry Goebel. Anyone from the mission here? I think they've all gone. Karen Nemus.
Hi, I'm Karen Nemus. I live at 1010 Cars Road with my husband, and we are firmly against the annexation. We have lived here for about 10 years. And the people who want to do this, like probably 90% of them don't live there and have no plans of living there. that they want to tell us the water, that we drink, put chemicals in our water. We currently have a well system and sewage and septic that is completely fine with us. It would require more electricity, which we already have, our power grid's already taxed. For us to be added onto the public water system, like that wouldn't, be logical as far as that energy efficient goes. And chemically, I don't have the chemicals in my water that municipal systems have now. And I don't really feel like people, because they want to profit, and take the 3 little pieces of woods out of our neighborhood, which I lost my children. I rely on these animals to feed and see every day. And I just feel like I'm going to be really affected by it emotionally, but physically as well. And I don't think it's fair that the people they want to make a profit off of it is really what it is. And the reason someone said prior that they were denied before when they were promised. No, they were denied because our neighborhood fought it before and was successful, because it's just not in any benefit. We have a nice, quiet, really small street. We don't even have a line in the middle of our street. And this would cause a lot more cars, a lot more people in our neighborhood. That's all I wanted to say. But thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. Next up is your husband, Richard.
Richard Nemus, 1010 Cars Road, Annapolis. We just feel with the public water and sewer, we'd have so much more development. There's already no parking there right now. It's very crowded. We have some stormwater runoff issues. I mean, that would have to all be reworked to get this right if those lots want to be developed. So it's a big project. And right now, we're not for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for testifying. Thank you. Next up, Susan Margolis. Feels like it's been a while, Susan.
It has indeed. But with the STR legislation, out of my hole in the ground comes Susan. Susan Margulies, 113 Conduit Street. I just really wanted to get out ahead of this, and I am in favor of 01725, but only with amendment number 2. Thank you very much, Alderman Savage. So 01725, as I understand it, caps the number of STRs at 10%, but it would ban me from getting an STR license. I'm off the platform. I've been off the platform for years. But that doesn't mean, with the uncertainty in the world today, being a federal worker, who knows what is going to happen. And if I lose my job, I'm going to need my spare bedroom. I'm going to need it stat. I'm going to need it the next day. And if I can't get an STR license because I am blocked by the other 8 non-owner occupied STRs on my street, that will really impact me. And there are a lot of folk in my community that went off the and I'm speaking of the owner-occupied host community, the people that rent a room in their homes. These are completely different from whole home rentals. The impact on the neighborhood is completely different. We are in the house. We are constantly in the house. We walk our dogs. We plant our gardens. We put out May baskets. We are active in the community. We are present with our guests. There are no parties that we, cannot hear. The impact on that. We drink the water that our guests drink. We breathe the air that our guests breathe. It is a completely different, an owner-occupied Airbnb is completely different from a non-owner-occupied Airbnb. And for the non-owner-occupied Airbnbs to block an owner-occupied who is going to drift on the platform and drift off the platform depending on the needs of their life. A lot of the folk in my owner-occupied host-present community dropped off the platform in COVID because they didn't want guests in their home, and some of them haven't come back on. And in the meantime, thanks to the legislation of 2019, the non-owner occupieds have proliferated in the city of Annapolis. And look at the numbers. 92% of the STRs are non-owner occupied. They're whole home rentals. That means that there are a lot of folk who would be blocked from getting an STR license. There are a lot of people who would not have access to that revenue stream without Amendment 2. So do not pass this legislation without Amendment 2. I really wanted to get out ahead of that. In addition to that, you get new homeowners who buy on a street and maybe they want to rent a room to help float their mortgage. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yay,
so much.
Amendment 2.
May I briefly respond?
Thank you. Susan, Alderman Huntley has a question.
I just want to say I didn't not include that amendment because I'm opposed to it in the legislation. I think it's a good amendment. We just wanted to make sure we had that discussion as its own point. But thank you.
Okay, I was grossly suspicious.
That's why I had to say something.
He uses Airbnbs all the time. Alderman Savage.
Just want to ask that you submit written testimony so it's part of the record for the actual hearing.
Yeah, my whole community is going to flood you with letters. I just found out about the legislation yesterday. Give me time. Yes, you'll have a letter from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, Bill Kardash is signed up. Oh, there he is. All right.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Bill Kardash, 17 South Street in Annapolis. I'm here to actually not announce, but to kind of reinforce something that we just began. So I'm speaking on behalf of Annapolitans for a Better Community. And within the past couple of weeks, we have launched a petition drive on two different issues. The first is on reduction of the homestead tax exemption, which is currently set at the maximum for the city at 10%, with the proposed to reduce it to the same level that the county's at, which is 2%. The second item that we're petitioning is to allow unaffiliated voters, those who might be classified as independents, to vote in primary elections. As you all know, those issues, both of these issues have been discussed before this council before. In the case of the primary voting pattern for the nonpartisans, it goes back to the mid-90s. Charter review commissions have regularly recommended that nonpartisans be allowed to vote in primary elections. And for the most part, I don't recall it ever coming before the council for a vote. So I think when it comes to the recommendations get made, and they get set aside and really not treated. With the issue of the homestead tax exemption, that has been discussed, and again has never moved into legislation. There have been attempts. There's been some discussion in the past with prior councils to introduce it, but for whatever reason, it never went anywhere. And I might just I am remiss to acknowledge the assistance when we were working on this, when our council was working on it. We had very good assistance from the city attorney's office, city clerk's office. I want to thank Mr. Lyles and Miss Regina Watkins for their assistance in processing what is pretty mundane and heavy legal work. But nevertheless, we were able to get the documents on the street. I did bring, now all of you have been sent copies, electronic copies, and currently there are people in the wards going door to door. We will have a direct mail program that'll go out in the next week or two. The campaigns are going quite well. We're hopeful that we'll be able to reach the threshold, which is approximately 2,600 signatures that we have to get citywide, with the intention that if we get to that level, that we could then place this item as a referendum for the fall for the general election in November. The numbers are not insignificant. Just to touch on the homestead tax reduction, we did a dry run for a property that would be assessed at $600,000. The average median price for the city of Annapolis is $586,000. So $600,000, nice round number. we're now in the second year of a 3-year triennial, and the average increase for assessments was 24%. That means every year, if you have a homestead exemption, you get that amount is 8% per year that your tax will increase. If you're in the county, it increases at the rate of 2%. It's significant. For a 600,000 property, the differential is almost $1,600 over a 3-year period. People can evaluate the value of their own home. $400,000 house be a little bit less. $1 million property will be somewhat more. But the bottom line is there is a significant economic value. I'm sure you all get get hives at the thought of any kind of reduction in revenue for the city. This is something that we did propose. We also did a study about a year and a half ago with the
Thank
Fells
you, Bill.
Institute.
That's 4 minutes. Thank you. Yeah. That's four minutes.
I'll wrap it up momentarily. So the study that was done with the University of Pennsylvania made some proposals. City county shared services. I hope you'll evaluate those and consider them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
May I say something, Mr. Mayor?
Alderman Huntley.
I think it's very important that citizens know that while it's important for them to be able to express their opinion, that these are not binding ballot questions. And that's been the opinion of the city attorney's office. Just want to make sure everybody is clear on that so that there are not dashed expectations.
So may I respond to that?
Sure.
Yes, if it was state law, it would in fact become law. But you're correct, because it's city. Despite the fact that the city, so we could win going away on this, and we could still end up being turned down by the council. That's not. I don't think that's a look that you want to endorse. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up is Tara Stout. So 3 minutes, plus you get an extra minute. We're always pretty easy here. Every now and then a little bit more, but that's okay.
Tara Stout, 1174 Bay Highlands Drive, Annapolis. I'm actually here tonight not for the Willows. Thankfully, that's all moving along fine. Those of you at the Hard Hat Tour, I think, saw a great product that was certainly worth the effort. I'm here tonight. First, I want to thank Alderman O'Neill for her efforts to sponsor 03025. It's one of those added-on first reader items for the business revitalization zone. And I understand, I appreciate Alderwoman Finlayson sort of saying it's not the fault of any of the community that it took this long for some of these amendments to make it up to you. So I'd just like to say that I hope all of you support it. And this amendment is pretty straightforward. So although it's got the last number of the newly added amendments, I think when it gets to Planning Commission, it should be, they should evaluate the amendments in terms of complexity first. The BR zone is a zone in the old 4th Ward that was created sometime after the 1985 comp plan. And quite honestly, it's a misnomer to name it business revitalization because a property owner couldn't tear down what they have there now and rebuild it based on the code. So this ordinance endeavors to allow some revitalization to occur in an area of the city that people have said they wanted for decades. And we happen to have a property owner who is looking to invest in his property in that area. So we really need some changes to the code. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Tara. We're all in agreement with you. Thank you. Okay, that's the last person signed up to speak. Who else would like to come forward and speak?
Hi, I'm George Gallagher. I live at 1212 Barbud Lane, a few blocks from Tyler Avenue, and I have a big, beautiful backyard with a swing set and a trampoline. And I've attended all 3 of the meetings that have occurred related to the overlay project. The thing that concerns me about this proposed plan and changing what's allowed in the R2 zone on Tyler Avenue is that we've got elderly on fixed incomes and working class people. And Tyler Avenue's properties in these large backyards represent some of the few single-family homes that are in the affordable range. So if this is changed, what will happen is that we'll have predatory developers come in. They'll be able to buy up the land, increase the density, and we'll see this slow, incremental disappearing of backyards, probably in Ward 6 and then next in Ward 3 and 4, anywhere where these large backyards exist with single-family homes. So I think we need to be very careful about eliminating this segment of property and availability of backyards and single-family homes and turning it into predatory development, speculation, higher density, no backyards. I don't want to see backyards eliminated from the city. I think we need to have multiple types of housing options. That would include single-family homes with backyards. So I hope the council keeps that in mind. And a question for Alderman Savage. When is that public hearing in September?
Not a question time, but you can get hold of Alderman Savage later. Yeah.
I just want to know when you mentioned something about a public hearing in September about this zoning.
What was the date on that, Alderman Savage?
It depends on when the planning commission
testimony,
finishes their.
Yeah.
Planning commission has to give us their recommendations. It could be as early September, but it might not be till later. We don't
Okay,
know
thank
yet.
you. Appreciate it.
Just recommending to get that testimony in. Thank you. Thank you, George. Anybody else like to come forward and speak?
Hello, my name is Dave Bontempo. I live 1023 Cars Road, and I am for the annexation. I have a piece of property I bought next to my house that I wanted to build a house for my mother, and I'm unable to build on that piece of property. I bought it, over 10 years ago. I've been hoping that this would come to fruition. And I think this is a good time to do it. We have other people in our community that have houses with no water or septic. They're unable to use their house. I just don't think that's right. I mean, for a few people that don't want any change, I don't think that's fair at all. We have another neighbor that doesn't have septic. He has a holding tank, has to get pumped. Why is that? Why is that fair? I don't understand this. I think it's a good idea that we, finally move forward before, all of our septics fail because of rising water and we all end up like the Fagleys. I don't want to see that happen. I think it's time to take action. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Anybody else like to come forward and testify? We appreciate you all coming to City Hall. Please come forward. How you doing?
Hi, I'm Stacia Bontempo. I also live at 1023 Cars Road and own the lot at 1021 Cars Road. And I've been there for 20 years. I like to point out how close we are to the water. Like I can hear all the foghorns and stuff like that. And I think of the environmental impact of having all these septic tanks on this street. And I don't know if y'all are familiar with the area. It's two streets, Cars Road, there's no septic or water, Turner Road, which is the connector, the no septic or water, and then Blackwell. One side of Blackwell has septic and water. The other side doesn't. So we are 3 blocks from the water treatment system in Annapolis. And I understand they pump sewage from South River all the way there, but they can't take mine, and I'm close to the water. So I do worry about losing, my septic tank. Then what would I do? Because I know our neighbor did. So, I'm also a local realtor. I know that if we actually had septic and water, it wouldn't hurt our property values, it would increase them. So I just want to say that I'm supportive of it.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Anybody else before we close testimony? Alderman Savage has a comment? No. Huh? Okay. So thank you, everybody. Truly appreciate you all coming to City Hall to testify. This is very important for all of us to hear. Thank you. I declare the public hearing closed. Alderman Savage.
I just want to let everybody know who came here to testify. I would encourage you to stick around. We'll be getting to the main discussion in, I don't know, in a short period. But that's when we will go over the public process. This is the very beginning. Public hearing probably won't be until early next year. It's very early. So, but it'll give you an opportunity to hear a bit about the annexation petition if you haven't seen that. But I just want to let you know the petitioners are following code. We are following the code requirements, and this is very, very beginning preliminary stages. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is approval of the consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar include reappointments: AP 4725, David DeQuinzio, Transportation Board; AP 4825, Kurt Reigel, Transportation Board; AP 4925, Elizabeth Dolezal, Transportation Board; AP 5025, Taylor Waters, Transportation Board; AP 5125, Thomas Lippert, Annapolis Conservancy Board; AP 5225, Linda Matthew, Environmental Commission; AP 5325, Marianne Marbury, Environmental Commission; AB 5425, Harold Siegel, Port Wardens.
Thank you. Any objections to the consent calendar?
Second.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley?
Aye.
Alderman Savage?
Aye.
Alderman Arnett?
Aye.
Alderman Huntley?
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill? Aye. Alderman Pendel Charles?
Aye.
Alderwoman Finlayson?
Aye.
Alderman Chandler Meyer?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is business and miscellaneous items, beginning with fund transfer FT 1225, General, Department of Recreation and Parks Administration.
Can I get a motion on FT 1225?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
So the next item on the agenda is fund transfer FT 1325, General Fund and Transportation Fund, various departments.
Your motion to approve FT 1325.
So moved.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is fund transfer FT 1425, General Police Department, salaries and benefits.
I get a motion to approve FT 1425.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is fund transfer FT 1525, General Finance Department of Public Works, contingency supplies and other.
Could I get a motion on FT 1525?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item.
Yes, sir. Next item on the agenda is ID 11225, preliminary review of the Carrs Manor annexation petition pursuant to City Code Section 252040.
And I would pass this over to Alderman Savage here. You could come forward. Thank you. Just a general explanation for the council.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say a few things as just to set the stage here. So as I alluded to, this is the very beginning of the process. As the code lays out, there's a large list of probably about a dozen requirements that have to be met by the petitioner when they submit a petition to the city. That is independent of the city council. This is a community-driven effort, and they've been working with, as they'll explain, Public Works for 2 to 4 years, I think, somewhere along those lines, if not longer. But our duty here tonight. So this is the preliminary hearing for this petition, and this is a hearing for the council at this point. Sorry, preliminary briefing, not hearing. Preliminary briefing. And so we are tasked with conducting a review of the petition and looking at 4 different things. One is if we want to require any further action or reasonable steps from the petitioners. They could include A, supplementation of the information required to be submitted in the petition. 2, could be studies, so additional studies that might be necessary. Third thing could be additional mailings or posting or advertising the notice. And the fourth thing is referral to appropriate city boards and commissions and related government agencies. And so after we hear a general overview of the petition effort, we can go ahead and either make the opinion that the declaration that the petition is incomplete, or we can ask for, again, additional information based on input we hear from petitioners or from staff, and we could give them a certain date. And so as I'll get into, if we decide to ask them to do additional studies, we can give them a date certain, which would most likely be middle of next year, to get us that information, the next council, that information. And so when they do that information ready, they'll come before the council, the next council, to continue this preliminary briefing. And then at that point, if the next council accepts it, then it will go out for an actual public hearing. And then we will send it to committees and get a drafted, a resolution of annexation as well as an ordinance drafted. So when I say this is the very beginning of the process, I mean that it can be very long. And I'll go over some of the feedback I've heard from staff when it's appropriate, but that's just to set the stage for the public as far as where we are with everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Savage. So I'll hand it over to you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm Alan Hyatt, 200 Westgate Circle. I'm here on behalf of the petitioners. Rob Bontempo is to my right. He is one of the petitioners and owns property within the Cars Manor subdivision. Alderman Savage, I think, got it right. The application or the petition has been filed with the city clerk. There's a series of information that's required with the petition. It's all been filed. We believe it meets the requirements of the code and state law. One of the standards is that the city council hears a preliminary matter from the applicants, and that's what tonight is all about. This is not a public hearing. This is just the very beginning of the process. What we were hoping to accomplish is to have the preliminary review and also have legislation introduced. But when I heard the legislation list or the back pile of legislation, I realized that that particular hope was going to be dashed against the rocks. So we're here simply to present the petition and for your preliminary review. Now, this is a little bit unusual because I have actually a history of handling annexations in the city for a number of years. And all of the annexations that I have handled over the years were to have the city annex land, undeveloped land. This is different because we have 7 acres of property, but within those 7 acres, there are existing homes. And let me just say, I understand the reluctance of someone who resides in the county and may have a septic system that's working today adequately because there's concerns about costs, potential taxes, impact fees or connection fees, and we get all of that. And those are the things that we will be discussing with the Department of Public Works in particular as we go forward. There are opportunities, as I understand them, there's potential grants that might be available. So I get it, and we're not unsympathetic, but we also know that there are failing septic systems that just do not work for the houses that are there. This is an area with a high water table. It cannot be good environmentally to have septics in this type of a location, and we are a stone's throw from city utilities. And it's an odd property because it is surrounded by city. There's a couple of thin areas of property just so that it's not an island in the county, and that was done as the one spokesperson mentioned, because of the history of Chesapeake Harbor. This property was excluded from the city, and really not for a legitimate reason. It was excluded. So we have 7 acres. This is not going to cause some massive amount of development or traffic. We're talking about potentially 14 more houses. I think that's what we're talking about, right? And curing some of the problems that we have experienced with some of the utilities or lack thereof at this site. The city's comprehensive plan identifies this property as a potential for annexation, so it adheres to that. And, you know, it's a practical matter, and it has to be vetted. Just so you're aware, we've had some inquiries from people. I think some of the folks that spoke tonight, they wanted to see the petition, and we sent them the petition electronically that we had. But just for purposes of running through what the procedure's all about, we had to send notice to everybody within 500 feet within 60 days of filing this petition. We did that. That's how everybody knew that there was going to be an annexation petition. We filed the petition. Tonight we have this preliminary introduction, this review, and then it goes back for certainly some discussion with the Department of Public Works. We have to meet certain criteria spelled out in the code as to whether this council, this body, determines whether an annexation is appropriate. But that comes later. We will have, after the review of the departments, because the legislation just can't be introduced now, it would be introduced when the new council convenes, and then there will be a public hearing. And that's when everybody gets the opportunity to speak. All of the departments get the opportunity to say, hey, we just can't work this out, so we're against it. Or, hey, we've worked this out, and this is what we're going to do to be able to connect the public utilities and satisfy the residents in some fashion or form that occupied the property. So that's really it for me. That's the overview. And it's up to us to put on a case at the public hearing to prove the standards in the code. And I know Mr. Bontempo, who's been at this for quite a while, seeking to have the ability to have utilities and hopefully annex. And Mr. Bontempo, why don't you tell the members of the city council what you've been working on?
Rob Bontempo, quite a while. He means 30 years I've been at this. I was 25 years old when I bought my first house. This neighborhood is very intertwined with Carrs Beach. Carrs Manor was a place where people from DC could come down and spend the weekend so they didn't have to fight traffic. It was a tough drive getting down Forest Drive to get in and out of Carrs Beach. So they bought modest shacks. I think they bought houses from Fort Meade and put them up on foundations. And the house, my first house that I bought, was a house that had a hand pump well that was broken and an outhouse. There was no indoor plumbing whatsoever. I was my first renovation. I tore it down to the foundation and built a 2-story house, and I lived there for 5 years. Then across the street, there were 2 dilapidated shacks. The whole neighborhood at that time there was 5 livable houses in the whole neighborhood. Everything else was just abandoned shacks. So myself and another gentleman, Dave Mansbridge, who used to live in the neighborhood, he bought one and then another. And slowly we built what we could with what was there. Then I needed to build a house when I got married. The 2 shacks across the street I tore down. And that house happened to be 75 feet wide. It was a lot and a half. And I was able to get a septic system there, and I built a house there. And then there was another lot at the very end of the street that was another wide lot. I was able to build a house there. And then I built the Goebbels house with them. But after that, the lots are too small to fit. If they're only a 50 by 137, it's either too small to fit a house in a septic system, or they don't perk. So, out of the 16 houses that are there, I'd say 3 are substandard, and the other 12 I either built or renovated. It's to the point now where you need water and sewer to continue this. In 1997, I was able to get the city to agree to allow me to extend the water and sewer into the neighborhood or into Carrs and Turner Road. But the city wouldn't allow me to get any way to be paid back by the people connected to it. They wouldn't allow me to do a utility or anything like that. So that died. Again, in 2003, I filed a petition for annexation, but at that time, again, Public Works put up a fight. They just didn't want to deal with it. So I'm back now. Like my brother said, my mom wants to live next door to my brother. He wants to move up from Florida. We want to build our house. The first time I spent $28,000 on engineering and all the annexation costs for nothing. I'm already up to $85,000 on this run. But I think I've met with the Public Works. They seem like they're behind it. They want to help us with this. So, and I've heard with the 6 families that live there now that, already have wells and septics that work. I'm going to work with Rob Savage. I'm going to work with the people that have unimproved lots. I'm going to try to make it so they don't have to come out of pocket for their water and sewer. That's what we're going to, over the next, I guess we have a few months. I waited 30 years. I can wait another year. So these people are happy. Everybody wins, and then the city will get benefit of future tax revenues.
So, Mr. Mayor, what we're asking tonight is that you refer this to the Department of Public Works for analysis and review with our engineers to try to come up with the plan that works. And if there's anything else you need from us, let us know. But I think that's the primary issue, as I understand it.
Alderman Savage.
And I will get to a motion later on after my colleagues have opportunity to ask any questions. But I, again, want to point out for the public standpoint that I encourage those who came testify to stay engaged in the process throughout the next few months. I also want to make it clear, as was alluded to from the presenters, that because this is so early, there is no proposed mechanism yet as far as how the city will pay for this. We have ideas about different mechanisms, but my point is there's no guarantee that your taxes are going to go up. There's no guarantee that you're going to get charged extra fees. We're going to look at different options to make sure any of that is limited for the existing owners. We have set aside money for this fiscal year to help assist with the annexation process. If I'm on the council next year, I'll probably make a push again for more of a recurring annexation support fund, just because we have other annexations that might be coming down the pipe here. So we want to hear your feedback, but we are trying to do what we can to make sure the cost is reduced. But on the other hand, as I'm sure some of my colleagues will we do have a housing crisis we need to be mindful of, as well as some of the environmental concerns with septic tanks. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. City Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jackie Gild, Acting City Manager and Deputy City Manager for Resilience and Sustainability. So I just want to make it clear that the city has not taken a position on whether they are actively supporting this annexation or not. You mentioned that Public Works thinks it's a good idea. I actually met with Director Vogel this morning, and what the city has done merely is accepted the petition. They haven't even validated that it is full and complete. And in fact, there's a lot more information that's going to be needed, a lot of work done by the Departments of Public Works and Planning and Zoning before they can even deem that it's complete. And they have quite a few questions for you on this. So I just want to make it clear, the city does not have a position yet on this annexation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do you have the data, how many total houses are currently there and how many empty?
There are
lots?
16 houses. I would say 12 of them, 12 to 13 are legitimate houses. One is the Fegus house has no indoor plumbing. The house at 7508 Turner Road only has a holding tank, and he can't put a septic system or a sewer line in right now. So he pays $260 every 2 months to have it pumped out, and he's stuck with that for now. And then down the street, there's an Airstream trailer with a front porch built off the front of it. And technically it's a house, but the neighborhood's just stunted, and it's been like that for 30 years. And And there's literally a fire hydrant. There's a water line right in front of the houses on Blackwell Road. They're not allowed to connect to it. And there's a manhole cover 20 feet from the front of my house on 7510 Turner Road, and I'm not allowed to connect to it. So without city annexation or a water and sewer agreement, we can't connect these houses.
So not being able to connect to it, if there were a fire, where would the water?
There's a fire hydrant in Edgewood Green. I guess they could cut through the property and connect to that. And I think there's a fire hydrant on Blackwell Road that they can connect to. But the house is at the end of my brother's house. I wouldn't know where they'd find water there. There's no fire hydrant.
Alderman Huntley?
Earlier, well, first let me say before I ask this question, I'm excited at the idea that we would be able to build more homes and be able to address our housing crisis. But the estimate that got thrown out was 14. I'm just curious how that number, and I understand if it's an estimate, how that number
There's
came about.
14, there's 16 houses.
No, not your estimate just now. Mr. Hyatt's estimate earlier.
There's 14 buildable lots.
Okay.
That's what
Got
you're
it.
thinking of. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. And then my other question was, it was alluded to earlier, a potential issue with the signatures. Is that something any of you are aware of? And
No, I don't
not
think so.
something you know
There's
anything
no
about?
issue with the signatures.
Okay.
Thank you. Did you want to say something, sir?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. My name's Jeff Silbert, 7500 Turner Road. I have 5 lots there. I bought 5 lots in 1985 with plans on building a house there. I had 2 houses on my property, and the city said, the county said I had to take the dilapidated shacks down, and I had a building permit with the county that I processed for a brand new house in 1989. When the building inspector came out to the job, he goes, I don't know if this soil perks. Well, I had already had an existing well and an existing septic system that I was reattaching to from the house that I took down that they said I needed to take down. So I had a building permit. When the building inspector came out to inspect my footers, he said, that's when he questioned the septic systems. And I had an existing septic system. So he put a stop work on me. So I was right next to Blackwell Road, and they put all the duplexes on Blackwell Road, and I was right adjacent to it with my 5 lots. So it went on hold because he put a stop work permit on me. 10 years later, that building inspector got fired from the county because he had prescription drugs in his system, and he wasn't even had a prescription for it. So they fired him. His name was Gus Fryer. I've been sitting on this property and paying taxes with the county for the last 40 years, and I haven't been able to build on my property. They're talking about a nice forest. It's my land that I used to cut, and I couldn't do anything with it because it didn't perk. So it doesn't perk. I have a water hydrant right on my property. I'm right there from Blackwell. It's easy for me to tie in. I'm the easiest one right in there, but I'm with the whole system, and I've been contributing money to this whole project since 2002 with Rob.
But one thing,
Thank you.
One thing I
Thank
failed
you.
to mention is when they developed, I mean, like when I bought my first house, they just were starting Edgewood Green. They just cleared the property and they put water and sewer there. Then they annexed the Bay Ridge Landing. And instead of putting the sewer in the road with the water and the storm drains, they put the sewer line behind the houses. So people on Blackwell Road.
And they didn't have 15 feet between the duplexes to get between there to put the sewer from our Turner Road over. So there's 2 terminal manholes that go down to the main road, Edgewood Road, but we can't get to it because they went in behind it.
It was purposeful to keep the sewer.
Given that through the process, yeah.
Given that this is a preliminary review,
Yep.
My suggestion is that you send it to your departments. Let us meet with, in particular, Public Works, and the new council's going to have to deal with it, and we'll have a public hearing early next year. I think otherwise we can talk about this all night, and I don't think that's the point of tonight's meeting.
Sounds like the next mayor's problem, not mine.
Sort of.
Alderman Savage, Alderman Schandelmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what steps are needed on our end to get the ball rolling on the examination of this? again, just the examination and feasibility and study, not the actual annexation, just the study. Is that legislation? Is that a
Well,
resolution?
no, we'd like that, but we said it's a little late in the game for you to offer legislation, so we understand that. All we're asking you to do is refer it to your departments for study and meeting with our engineers. And I think Alderman Savage was going to make that motion. I think that's what he said, and that's what we need to do tonight. And then we roll up our sleeves with our engineers and your engineers, and we'll figure out how this works. That's really where we are in the process.
Thank you. Alderman Finlayson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I understand the urgency. I'm just a little confused about starting it now, knowing that at least a third of the council won't be here. You're going to be presenting the same information to two different groups. I know you understand that that's your.
Yeah.
I'm not clear on why you're doing that.
We had hoped to file this sooner. We
Right.
filed the petition in May, and we thought, all right, we'd have enough time to get this handled legislatively, but we're clearly running out of time. So there's nothing that this council is doing legislatively that's going to carry over to the next council. All that's going to happen is this council is going to say to the departments, take a look at this. Let's figure out how sewer gets here, what the costs are, and that sort of thing. That all comes back to the new council. That's when the legislation gets introduced. So there's really nothing that this council is doing of any substance other than checking off the box of the preliminary review and having your departments start to delve into this. That's
It's
it.
Public Works that really has to figure this out.
Well, and I don't know whether you had an opportunity to see the list of legislation that was
We did.
introduced
Well, that's why we're
tonight.
pushing it till next.
And our department weigh in on much, if not all of this also.
Right.
So I'm also thinking about,
Sure.
their duplication.
We may not get their attention for a few months. So we understand
Okay.
that. We get that.
Okay.
But what we didn't want to have happen is to have the legislation introduced, it die, we lose, or Mr. Bontempo loses a $15,000 application fee. That we didn't want to have happen. So I think this is the best we can
Okay.
do under the circumstances.
I understand. I just
Okay.
wanted to
We understand.
be clear.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Savage.
Are there any other
I think
questions? All right. So, and just again, for those who showed up to testify, if this gets annexed, that would be in my ward. Always happy to hear from anybody if you have comments on this. And two, as far as why now, I think the benefit is that, I'm sorry, assuming I'm reelected anyway, my ward. But in any case, as far as the next, why we're doing this now is I think this ensures that the next council gets a complete package, hopefully to the department's satisfaction, for their full consideration during the next term. So they will be able to hit the ground running with this and get things moving along in a timely manner. So along those lines, what I would like to do is make, and again, per the code, we are allowed to refer this to appropriate government agencies for their comments and review, and also to require additional information. So along those lines, I would like to make a motion that has two parts. So the motion would be that one, we refer this to the Department of Public Works and Planning and Zoning, and two, that we direct the petitioners to work with those departments to specifically, but not limited to, address their requirements pertaining to subsection E in City Code Section 2.52.030, which talks about description of municipal services which should be upgraded, together with recommendations regarding priority for accomplishing improvements and recommendations as to the source of funding for any capital improvements. And this reflects my discussion with Public Works late last week and Plan and Zoning.
That's the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Alderman Pindell Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to reiterate what Deputy City Manager indicated, that the city has not come to any conclusion on this specific endeavor.
Yes, that is correct. So this is just introducing this as a petition and on this motion, you're just voting to send this petition on to the appropriate departments for their review and for further discussion with the applicants.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. So all those in favor of accepting this, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. We appreciate everybody's
you.
contribution
Thank you.
today. Lots of work to do still. Thank you so much.
I had to take
All right, Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is legislative actions on second reader, beginning with Resolution R-1725, 2025 Transit Development Plan for the City of Annapolis.
Is there a motion to adopt R-1725 on second reader?
So moved.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley,
Aye.
Alderman Savage,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett,
No.
Alderman Huntley, Alderwoman O'Neill,
Aye.
Alderman Pendel Charles,
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson,
Alderman Finlayson, is that an aye?
Aye. Alderman Shannemeyer.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is Resolution R-2225, City Supported Special Events in Fiscal Year 2026 on second reader.
Is there a motion to adopt R-2225 on second reader?
As amended.
As amended?
Amended?
There's no amendment on the floor, Mr. Mayor.
Is there an amendment for that?
One in our
Yeah.
packet.
There's an amendment. Number 1 on behalf of the Finance Committee.
Okay, I didn't see it on my thing. Could I get that
Second?
amendment, please? Moved.
I'll move Amendment 1.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Could I get a motion to move it as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor Buckley,
Aye.
Alderman Savage,
Aye.
Alderman Arnett,
Aye.
Alderman Huntley,
Aye.
Alderwoman O'Neill, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Alderman Pendel Charles,
Aye.
Alderman Finlayson,
Aye.
Alderman Shannemeyer.
Aye.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is legislative action on first reader, beginning with O-2925 Tyler Avenue Complete Community Overlay District.
Is there a motion to adopt O-2925 on first reader?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Second, Alderman Savage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to explain. I'm going to vote no on this, but it does not reflect lack of support for this. I entirely 100% support the legislation, although I am going to try to tweak some of the requirements for parking because I think they go a little overboard. But that said, I do support the idea, but I just think it's a bit too much to add on the planning commission's plate as well as ours at this stage in the game. So I'm not going to support on first reader.
Thank you. Alderman Huntley.
Is there a way, Alderman Savage, that we can refer this, we can introduce it, we can refer it to the planning commission, and we can say, like, hey, of the things you got on your plate, do this one last? Because the way I'm thinking about it is almost like when you overdraw a bank account, right? And when you overdraw a bank account, if you've got 3 charges for $1 and 1 charge for $5, if you do the $5 charge first, then you end up with 3 overdraft charges, as opposed to if you do the $1 ones first, you only end up with 1 overdraft charge. I'm trying to think of the same thing with this, right? Like, can we structure the I guess it would be a question for the planning commission. But is there a way that we can direct them in how to structure their agenda so that they do the thing that is the biggest last, so they can get through the other things first? So I think of all the things we're recommending to them, this is the most complex. So if anybody wants to answer that question, I would love to get an answer.
Can explore that too, I think. Thank you. Alderman Annette?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually have the opposite point of view. I think that we worked hard, passed the comprehensive plan, and I think we'd like to start getting it implemented. I will say I was given some pause about the amount of testimony concerning this, and I think it's the same kind of testimony we're going to hear on the entire comp plan for every one of the opportunity areas that are the 12 opportunity areas that are laid out. And I think it's important to start addressing these concerns. The fear that is going to improve the community and thereby increase their taxes. I haven't noticed taxes not increasing anyway, but we really are trying with the comprehensive plan to plan. We're trying to accommodate some of the housing needs through a coordinated, long-developed, comprehensive approach, as the name indicates, comprehensive plan. And I have come to fully support the comprehensive plan, and I would really like to see some of it implemented. So I would argue that, first of all, the Planning Commission sets their own agenda. There's suggestion that they do these things in the order that they come to them. One of the values of having planning commissions is that they are the people we expect to take a deep dive into the legislation or the proposal and turn it every which way. They meet for hours and hours and hours, and before that, prepare, and they give it a lot of consideration, and I think that's value for us. So I would really like to let them do their work, take the time they need, but I would urge that we prioritize things that are supporting the comp plan. So that's my view on it.
Thank you. Alderman Shannemeyer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With legislation like this, in regards to, I understand that changes to communities can cause worry, but as legislators, I do think it's important for us to work based on facts and not assumptions. And this legislation has been drafted very well by our planning and zoning department. And I think it's very important that we make sure this gets to the planning commission, that this gets heard, because this is one of the best steps forward in acting on some of the housing goals of our comprehensive plan. Because I know I'm preaching to a lot of members of the choir on this council. We all know that there are not enough homes meeting the needs and the budgets of our families. We know that Tyler Avenue has a large problem with speeding cars, and that we also know that by making some of these changes, we can get to a point where we can get to a revenue sustainability that we can bring taxes down. That is why we need to work on this and give it a priority.
Thank you. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, thank you. Ayes have it. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is Ordinance 03025, Business Revitalization District Regulation Change.
Sorry, I have to refer that to the Planning Commission, Rules of City Government, and Housing and Human Welfare. Apologize. Okay, could I get a motion on the next one?
So moved.
Second.
Which one are we
Oh, 30.
on? 030.
03025.
First reader.
On first reader, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Can I refer that to the Planning Commission and Rules of City Government Committee? Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item agenda.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The next one on the agenda is 01525, removing accessory dwelling unit owner residency requirement.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank
No.
you. We're going to refer that to the Planning Commission and Rules of City Government. Mr.
No.
City Attorney?
No.
No. All right. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is O1825, reallowing duplexes in R2 zoning districts.
Thank you. Can I get a
moved.
motion? Thank you. Second.
Second.
Okay. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Yep.
Just getting to.
We're hopping around.
Oh, it's down the
It's
list.
after 20.
Coming up. Yep. So we're going to refer that one to Planning Commission, Ode 1825 to Planning Commission and Rules of City Government. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is O1025, sale of city-owned property at 932 Spa Road and 935 Spa Road.
03025.
O2025.
2025, sorry.
Mr. Mayor,
Second.
Thank you. Alderman Savage,
could I ask this be referred to environmental matters?
the last one or this one coming up?
2025.
2025, yep. Let's
Which
just
one are
take
we doing right now? 010? I don't think we have an 010.
He
So-
meant 010. I mean 20.
02025. I'm sorry.
What's in front of us right now is 02025.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a vote on it as soon
I
as
just
Mr.
had one
Hunley
thing to say.
talks. Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to say whether it's environmental matters or economic matters, whichever it's going to. I had a request for it to have a representative from the Heritage Commission come and talk about some of the history of that site. So whichever one of you two wants to take that on, I would appreciate if that could be part of that discussion.
Economic Matters is happy to have him, and I'll even call him a panelist so he gets more than 3 minutes.
Thank you. Okay. All those in favour on first reader of O2025, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Let's refer that to Economic Matters and also Environmental. Is it Alderman Savage? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is O2125, Annapolis Harbor Lines, 423 Chester Avenue on Back Creek.
Okay, that's an Arnett. First reader. Can someone move it, please? Second. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is O2325, City Hiring Qualifications.
Mr.
We've
Mayor,
pulled that one, I think. Yep.
Yeah. I'm withdrawing that.
Okay. The next one on the agenda is O2425, Election Report Deadlines.
Did I get a motion on O2425?
So moved.
And a second? Second. Thank you. All right. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Let's refer that to Board of Supervisors of Election and the Rules Committee. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is R2725, renaming of the Noah Hellman Parking Garage.
Can I get a motion? Can I get a second? Thank you. Yep.
So I've received emails saying that this needs to go to the Heritage Commission, which I'm not particularly familiar with, but also questioning replacing of signage. I don't know how to respond to that. This is your sponsored legislation, but at some point, I think we'll need to get some information about proper procedure. I think the city does need to follow its own signage rules. I'm not sure what the Heritage Commission issue is, but I am responding to a request from a city resident. So be good to get clarification on that issue.
Absolutely. We'll check into that. Thank you. All right. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Abstain.
Who was that seconded?
It was.
On first reader. Yep. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is R3025, 5-year Consolidated Housing and Community Development Strategic Plan.
So move.
Second.
You?
Can I ask a question to the city manager on this? To what extent is this plan, like how much does it relate to our comprehensive plan versus how much is it something that we're required to complete by the state?
I think good.
Oh, maybe it's a question.
I would refer that question to part of planning and zoning.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Alexis Robinson with the Planning and Zoning. And with me, I have John Haglin of Urban Design Ventures, who is our consultant that helps us put together the 5-year consolidated plan for this year. John, would you? Thank you.
Very simply put, it is a requirement. Oh, thank you. It is a requirement by HUD to submit this plan every 5 years to qualify for the CDBG allocation that the city receives annually. So it's not to be confused with a comprehensive plan. I would say that it's has a carve out similar to the comprehensive plan. What it's looking at specifically is the low and moderate income population of the city. That's based off of the greater metropolitan area, including Baltimore and Washington. So basically, it's depending on family size. I would say income levels somewhere between under 100,000, under 80,000, depending on how many people are in there. This year, the city's receiving about 279,000 in CDBG funds, and the plan is basically to define what are the priority needs in the community, and then what are the goals that the city will use to allocate its CDBG funds each year that it receives those CDBG funds as it relates back to the 5-year consolidated plan. So somewhat related, but very specific to just being a requirement by HUD to complete the plan.
Got it.
I
Thank
would,
you.
sorry, I would also include that we are using the goals of the comprehensive plan to inform the goals of the consolidated plan.
Got it. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes we have these big names. It's like, is this really our plan for housing for the whole city? I haven't heard anything about it. But no, it's specific to how we're going to spend these CDBG funds. Got it. Thank you. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
And we very much appreciate you sticking out till the end here for that. Thank you. All right, we're going to take a vote on it. You guys go if you'd like. There. All those in favor on first reader, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is 01725. Did not receive a fiscal impact report and needs a waiver of the rules by the council. Unanimous vote.
I move to waive the rules.
Second.
Okay. We need to I think we can get it. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
So you now have 01725 is on the agenda for first reader.
Thank you.
Limiting short-term rentals per block face.
So moved.
Right. Oh, okay.
Second.
On first reader. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Arnett.
with the permission of the chair from the Rules Committee, since we've worked on this so many times, I would like this to be also assigned to the rules.
If you insist.
We don't
really
have enough work.
That will be
You
going
knocked
to
us out
rules.
5.
Thank you. And economic matters. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next item on the agenda.
Next item on the agenda is 01925, regulation of walking tours in historic Annapolis. Also did not receive a fiscal impact note and requires a waiver to be put on the agenda.
Regulations of walking tours.
So move.
So we need that. We need to move.
Need a waiver first.
Who's moving the waiver? Got to be 100% here. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that's 100%. Now, can someone move it on first reader, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We're going to need to refer that to Economic Matters. Mr. City Attorney, please present the next on the agenda.
The agenda is complete, Mr. Mayor.
Right. Anything else for good order? There's always something with Alderman O'Neill. Great.
Yes.
That's why we love you.
I have a
What's-
few things.
Yeah.
One, Porch Fest happened last Saturday. I was not able to attend because I was working, but by all due reports, it was a great event, well attended, and they will look for their second annual. So I want to give a huge shout out to Caitlin McQuaid, who lives in Germantown Homewood, because you've spent a lot of time and effort and brought the idea to the city. So hopefully, after this year, we'll be able to get it into other neighborhoods as well. It was really great. Secondly, Food Fridays, for all that want to help, has to temporarily relocate for the summertime, starting this Friday, to the Eastport Fire Station. It puts a huge burden on us because the space at the Eastport Fire Station is about half the size of the space at Pitt Moyer. So if you are inclined to help or interested in helping, we would love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Oh, yes, one more thing.
Yes.
This past week was our council aide's birthday, so I want to wish happy birthday to Kaylin Jackson.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else for good order, guys? Let's give it to our acting city manager here. Give a little round of applause. Okay, could I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, meeting adjourned.